He froze at the doorway. The glass of wine slipped from his hand and shattered against the marble floor. A millionaire, home early without notice, stood Perros watching his maid, bent low over his only daughter. What he saw in that moment was not betrayal, but something far more haunting, far more unforgettable. He never expected to see it. The house was silent when he returned, far earlier than anyone had planned. His business trip had ended in chaos, and he longed for nothing but the quiet embrace of his home. But the moment he stepped into the grand hallway, his eyes landed on the scene that stole the air from his lungs. There, on the carpet beneath the towering chandelier, his daughter sat trembling. Beside her, the maid, her hands gentle but her posture urgent. The man froze, every muscle rigid. For a long, unbearable moment, time seemed to stop. He could not breathe. He could not speak. What was she doing to his daughter? A father's burden. He was a man born into wealth, but not peace. Business meetings, boardrooms, and endless figures had made him sharp but hollow. He was admired in public, envied in private. Yet deep down he lived with a single fear: losing his little girl. She was the only soul who softened him, the only reminder that there was more to life than power. He had hired the maid only months before, a quiet woman, dark-skinned and often overlooked by the guests who filled his mansion. She moved like a shadow, cleaning in silence, never speaking unless spoken to. Many in the neighborhood whispered about her background, about where she came from, about why she seemed so guarded. He had paid little attention. Until now. The backstory of Silence, the maid's name was Maria. To most, she was invisible, but her silence was not weakness, it was survival. Years before, she had lived through storms of cruelty and hunger. She had buried siblings who had not survived the hardships she endured. When she finally crossed borders to work in houses like his, she carried no possessions except her dignity and her quiet resolve. Every night, as she scrubbed silverware until her hands cracked, she remembered her mother's words. Silence is not surrender. It is strength waiting for its moment. The millionaire never knew this. To him, she was only an employee until that night when silence revealed its truest power. The daughter's secret pain. His daughter was 13, delicate in her manner, but carrying scars invisible to her father. The world saw privilege in her silk dresses, but she felt the loneliness of a child raised by nannies and strangers. While her father fought for more deals, more wealth, more recognition, she had begun to wither inside, her spirit bent by the weight of absence. Only Maria had noticed. Only Maria had seen the way the girl would sit by her door at night, whispering secrets into the dark. The conflict unfolds. And now, in that frozen moment, the father stood watching as Maria held his daughter's face between her rough, work-worn hands. Tears streamed down the girl's cheeks, silent sobs racking her small frame. Maria whispered words not meant for him to hear. Words of comfort. Words of protection. Words that no millionaire could buy, no fortune could secure. The father's mind raced. Anger rose first, wild and fierce. Was this betrayal? Was his home defiled? How dare a servant touch his daughter so intimately? But then he saw the girl's trembling hand clutching Maria's wrist like a lifeline. The way her shoulders eased, the way her sobs softened under the weight of Maria's embrace. It was not betrayal. It was salvation. The escalation, his voice thundered before he could stop it. What is going on here? The daughter flinched, but Maria did not release her. She did not bow, nor did she cower. Her silence was her shield. She simply turned her eyes upward, dark, unwavering, filled with a quiet strength he had never seen before. That look pierced him deeper than any words. It was not defiance. It was dignity, a silent declaration. I will not abandon her, no matter what you think of me. The millionaire's authority, his towering wealth, his polished shoes and expensive suit all seemed to shrink before the weight of that silence. For the first time in years, he felt powerless. The unexpected power shift days passed, but the memory of that night would not leave him. He began to notice things he had ignored before: the way Maria carried herself, the way she rose earlier than anyone, the way his daughter's eyes lit up when she entered the room. One evening, he found his daughter in the garden, her laughter soft but real. Maria was beside her, braiding her hair, weaving flowers into the strands. The millionaire stood at a distance, his chest heavy with shame. He realized then that while he had been chasing millions, Maria had been saving the one treasure money could never replace. His daughter's spirit, the iconic words. It was then that the millionaire finally spoke to Maria, not as an employer, but as a man stripped of pride. His voice broke as he said, "Money builds walls, but love builds homes. And you have built my home." Maria did not answer. She simply bowed her head and continued to braid the child's hair. But in that silence, there was more power than any speech. The millionaire turned to his daughter and whispered, almost to himself, "Silent strength is louder than all my wealth." The climactic payoff, the story spread not through tabloids or television, but through whispers among the neighbors. They had seen the change in the mansion. The once gold halls now echoed with laughter. The girl no longer walked with downcast eyes. One afternoon, during a community gathering, the millionaire did something no one expected. He brought Maria forward, stood beside her, and placed his hand over his daughter's shoulder. With his voice steady, he declared before all, "This woman has given my daughter what I could not. Respect her as you would respect me, for in her silence, she has shown me the true meaning of honor." The crowd fell into a rare hush. No applause, no chatter. Just a silence of respect, as if they, too, had learned something eternal. Outro with reflection. The millionaire had built empires with contracts and currency. Yet, in the end, his empire of love was built by the hands of someone the world dismissed as unworthy. Silent heroes walk among us, every day unnoticed, uncelebrated, yet carrying the power to heal wounds no wealth can reach. Respect is not earned by status, it is earned by sacrifice. Be unseen, love dignity in silence. And sometimes, the greatest strength is not in words shouted, but in tears held, in comfort given, in a simple hand offered at the right time. So now, to you watching this story, where are you watching from? What do you believe makes someone truly strong? Share your thoughts below, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that honor the silent heroes among us.